The Sinking City. So this is a different type of game right here, and a very interesting premise to the storyline that's going on throughout this game. Basically, the city has been caught under a catastrophic flood, and now all the residents inside the city are going a little bit crazy. And it's up to the main protagonist, which will be myself, to figure out what's going on and see if we can solve the problem and fix the city. So, really interesting premise. I really do like the art style of this whole game too. So, something I definitely want to check out is on my radar for this year. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Not much is known about this game at this current point in time, but from what I have read, this game is actually covering a part in the Star Wars series that I always was curious about. The part right after Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, right after Darth Vader. Covers the story right after that, and you basically take place as a Padawan of a Jedi, and that's who your character is. And I'm really interested to see how this is going to play out, because that period where all the Jedi were extinguished to get to the point where we get to Episode 4 and the Sith are already in power and the Jedi are a scarcity around the galaxy. I do want to see that play out and see how that unfolded. You know, the Jedi are very powerful warriors, and for them, their whole entire order to be taken out, it's just crazy. Definitely a story worth being told. And this game is supposed to be delivering on that. So interested in that, man. Star Wars Jedi The Fallen Order. Sea of Solitude. So this was a game I initially saw way back when on some kind of E3. And when I first saw it, I was like, man, this game looks creepy as hell. Okay, this game does not look... It does look like something that if I was younger would definitely give me nightmares. But the Sea of Solitude, the way they talked about the game at E3 and the more footage I keep seeing, I kind of have the feeling that there is a strong story behind this game that I will be receiving by the end of this game. And I'm just so curious to hear what the creators are trying to say about the Sea of Solitude. A very unique and interesting game that I want to see how it plays out. So that's on my radar as well. Pokemon 2019. I am a huge old school fan of the Pokemon Yellow and Pokemon Red and Blue that came out way back when on the original Game Boy series. Actually, I didn't know it at the time, but that was the first RPG that I ever played. And I was on some Pokemon. So to have that Pokemon core game on a core system, hopefully with a core controller that I can handhold and play the game, would be awesome. This is something that I've been wanting for a long time. Even back when Pokemon Red and Blue were out, I had the Super Game Boy Advance, hooked it up to my Super Nintendo, and then put the Game Boy game in it just so I could play it on the big screen with a controller in hand. So I've been wanting a Pokemon game, a main core Pokemon game on the system forever. And to finally get it this year with the new graphics that I saw on Pokemon Let's Go, it's going to be pretty awesome. So definitely want to check that out. Probably going to lose hours upon hours of time leveling up Pokemon and playing that game. Mortal Kombat 11. Always been a fan of Mortal Kombat. Even back in the Super Nintendo days, and even like a couple years ago, I had Mortal Kombat 10, put a couple videos on the channel too. Of course, the fatalities were always a shocker. Something to get my mom finger wagging, telling me video games are bad news. But Mortal Kombat 11 is coming out, and I'm definitely interested in continuing the series because number 10 was really good. Jump Force. Now, this is the game on anime fans' wish list right here. I mean, we got crazy scenarios where we got Naruto versus Dragon Ball Z characters, and you got One Piece characters, and you got even My Hero Academia in there too. So they're bringing all kinds of anime characters in this, and it's gonna be like a 3 versus 3 battle system, and it just looks like a lot of fun. It'd be pretty awesome if they had the final boss as Saitama, the One Punch Man. He'd be unbeatable as the final boss. Next game, In the Valley of the Gods. So this one here, I really don't have a strong explanation to why I want to play this game. I just thought it looked really interesting, exploring lost temples in Egypt and uncovering mysteries and secrets and death-defying puzzles and stuff. I don't know why this game is called to me, but I'm interested in checking it out and I want to see more of it. So, In the Valley of the Gods, coming out this year on the radar. Control. I've played games like Control before. It's basically an adventure game where the main character is has powers and they're going through wreaking havoc against enemy combatants. And I think this game features a lady with telekinesis powers. So that's going to be awesome. Kind of reminds me of a game I played earlier on, like way back when, where a girl had telekinesis powers. But this one seems more developed and more the graphics seem a lot better. Also reminds me a little bit of Quantic Break. Next game, Concrete Genie. Now this game, I kind of like the premise of this game a lot. You know, a little kid who's having trouble with bullies, and he uses his art, his tool of expression to overcome his problems and his bullies he has during his journey. So going to be a very interesting game. A lot of story involved in this one and a lot of cool artwork and maybe some cool concepts as well. So definitely like the design too of the character and the layouts of the city. Next up, Code Vein, straight from Japan right here. Hack and slash game that looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. The graphics look pretty cool. And I want to find more about this world and interesting things because Japan's been killing it with some of these game concepts lately. They bring the off the wall concepts that you don't even think about. Code Vein, I think it's going to be a very interesting game and it looks to be really good. Battletoads 2019. So no information, no pictures, just a logo. That's all we got so far about the information on this game. And that's all I need because this is purely nostalgia driven right here. I used to play the hell out of Battletoads when I was young. And I'm just curious to see what Battletoads in the present day on modern day graphics even looks like. So the more information I get, the more I'll probably be excited about this game. Next up, Ace Combat 7, Skies Unknown. This is actually a game that's coming out this month, so it is right around the corner. I used to play these Ace Combat games a long time ago. They were a lot of fun, flying around the skies and blowing enemy jets out the air. And also always had like a badass rock soundtrack in the background too, so that was always great. Hypes up the intensity and the pressure of the matches, which I love. Definitely looking forward to that. Anthem, a game that really needs no introduction. I'm pretty sure everybody's already heard of this game from the same studio that put together the Mass Effect series. BioWare, the team that actually worked on the original trilogy, is working on this game. Maybe not the whole team, but a lot of the creative minds that worked on the original Mass Effect trilogy are here in this, and that alone has my interest right now because Mass Effect still to this day is probably the best trilogy I've ever experienced. Some of the best games there in that series, and want to see what the minds of BioWare have made at this point. Now this is definitely under a different cloth. We're going from a story-based, particularly a story-based game where you have the choices and decisions and your actions affect consequences, to a game that's more like Destiny, where it's a multiplayer game and a community-based game where players cooperate with other players and they do missions and stuff together. Hopefully there's a interesting story behind all this as well. I know BioWare just not making a sandbox game with no story, so I know there's gonna be something involved in that too, and this could be a great way to get involved in a new gaming community too here. So I'll definitely be checking this out on the PS4 when it does release. Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. I like the aesthetics of this game, taking place in a feudal period in Japan, I believe, and dealing with samurais and monsters and, you know, hack and slash. Reminds me of an old game I used to play a while ago called Onimushu. And in that same vein, this game looks to be really interesting and probably going to be really challenging. They don't have any mercy in these type of games. So a lot of frustration is about to be following. Blood pressure is probably going to be rising. But it's still a lot of fun to play these type of games. And I'm definitely looking forward to Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. And last on the list, Bayonetta 3 for the Switch. Big fan of this series here, Bayonetta, made by one of my favorite gaming development companies, Platinum Games. They put a lot of effort and hard work and determination into their projects, and it really does show on their games. Bayonetta, the first one, was my first experience with the studio. Last game I think I played with them was Nier Automata, which was an amazing game too. So Bayonetta 3, I'm definitely looking forward to on the Switch too. So a Nintendo exclusive at this point, which is still surprising to me because it wasn't even a Nintendo game to begin with. But Nintendo saved this game just like one of my other games just got saved by a different company. So, hey, long live Bayonetta, and can't wait for Bayonetta 3.